Hey guys, I'm Rachel Castile and welcome to Typology Corner. Today I'm going to talk about how not to use type. And there's a lot of ways that aren't really productive to your type growth and just the usefulness of this tool going forward. And I've been studying typology for probably nearly 10 years or so, just as an enthusiast. Loving to see typology kind of play out and just recognizing the types in people. It's been really fun, I guess, being able to identify people's type and stuff like that. But yeah, so there's been things I've done, there's things I've seen other people do in the type community that just isn't that great. And are kind of easy, like pitfalls to find yourself in. And yeah, so I just want to highlight some of those. And so, yeah, I've taken some notes. First thing I wrote, don't put people in boxes and stereotype them. There's a huge range of health within typology, and most descriptions target one aspect of the types. Be open minded when studying type. So, yes, type descriptions highlight a bit of a stereotype. It's an archetype of, a picture of what a particular type is like, and within like MBTI specifically more so, the descriptions are very like the ESTP is like this, the ENFP is like this, and sometimes people mistype over reading descriptions and saying like, you know what, I don't identify with that. So I guess one thing to highlight is the cognitive functions are very helpful in being able to get a better description of the types than just reading personality descriptions online. They're not way off, but there is a range within every MBTI type, like the 16 types. There's a wide range of how that type can manifest. So yeah, I advise it is really worth your while to study the cognitive functions and to get a better picture of what those are like and to recognize that in people. It's like the process that's working in the mind most dominantly, which can help you identify people's type more that way. But yeah, so be open-minded when studying type. Know that type descriptions is a very narrow version of what a type can manifest as. So use type to help you understand others. Like it's really an open-minded space to understand what you don't know, essentially. Like you're well acquainted with your own type. But most people around you are starting from a totally different place. They're seeing through different lenses, per se. So, yeah, approach type, looking to learn and understand something that doesn't come natural to you. So, yeah, don't use type as a judgment tool of other people. But more so a tool to help you tear down the judgments you already have a bent towards having just because of the type that you have, understand that people are very different than you. Yeah, they're prioritizing totally different things, seeing different things, valuing different things altogether. So yeah, definitely approach type from wanting to understand and grow and being able to expand your perspective. So don't let your knowledge of type cause you to not really get to know people. People are much more than their personality type. You don't have people figured out because you know their personality type. It's just an assessment of the lens they are looking through. It's not the total person. This is huge. In my time of like loving personality, just like being somewhat obsessed with it for years, it's very easy to just have like typing eyes and you're just like scanning and people watching almost and just Be like, oh, I can tell they're this type, so they're this way, da 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 da. It's very easy to do that. But it would be really to your disadvantage to use type for that alone. Really get to know people, and you'll realize that typology should be this ever expanding thing that you can see the gifts that people have, but also how diverse people really are, even within the type that they are. So, yeah, it's not the person. It is the chosen tools that they're using, but it's not them per se. It may be their ego that is being wielded, I guess. Like you can recognize the constructs of someone's ego. And ego has a lot to do with personality within like the MBTI. Like the functions can be the dominant ego that someone's moving around the world in that sort of perspective. But it's not the totality of who they are. As you really get to know people, their soul is more than just this. So just be aware of that. Don't use your type as an excuse for bad behavior. We shouldn't be guided by our egos. Type imbalances are real and need to be worked on. Maturing in our character is important for our development as a person. Yeah. Don't say, oh, because I'm an ESFP, this is why I can't keep a job. This is why I've just got to do something new all the time. This job has gotten old. I have to jump to the next thing. Or if you're, say, an INTJ or ISTJ, and you're like, I don't like change. I have to, I can't ever try something new. Like the types have tendencies, but don't let them limit what you can become. Don't let them limit your development or what you can experience. You can grow in your opposite areas and become more balanced. And yeah, your type, if you go all in on your ego, you could have a big gaping hole somewhere else that you're just like not working on at all, because you're binging on your chosen things, So we all have that tendency. It's very easy for us to choose what we always choose, but just be aware you can grow, you can develop in the other areas of your personality as well and be more balanced. The risk is that your ego could be so big. I say your ego, my ego, that we could have a total disregard of our impact on other people. And yeah, not be aware or not care for what we're avoiding or what we're going all in on, like the effects it's having around us. So it's really important to not use your type as an excuse for your behavior, as in, this is who I am and you just need to accept it. This is me. This is my type. I am an ESTP, therefore I'm going to always do this. And this is who I am, Yes, we could all say that of all of our functions and have our ego guiding our life. We all have one. It's just, what are we doing with it? Are we refining it? Are we working on it? Are we being cognizant of our surroundings, our impact on other people? Are we hearing other people out, or are we only seeing people through the lens of our own ego? That's a dangerous place to really be in, because if you're there, you might be doing it and not know, because being in that sort of state, it's being self-absorbed. We all can be there or have found ourselves there at some point in our lives. So yeah, Don't use your type as an excuse for bad or selfish behavior. Type is not your identity. You can grow beyond the limitations of your type. Let it inform you of your tendencies and then grow from there. So, yes, type is the tools in your belt, but it's not who you are. What you can do with those tools is limitless, really. Don't think, oh man, I really wish I could be this other type. I really wish I read the description of this other type that's not mine, and like I want to be that. Like, because I think that type has more potential than me or something like that. And sometimes when reading descriptions, you can kind of feel that way. It's like, man, they just made my type sound kind of puny, or they just made them sound like that all I can amount to is something that sounds small or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, no type is a negative. No type is less than another type. Some maybe societal prejudice or favoritism towards certain types of giftings, where you see like society is praising people for displaying certain types of gifts, and you can be like, man, I'm more like this, I'm more introverted or whatever, you know. Yeah, don't let descriptions or opinions or anything like that cause you to believe that the type you are is why fill in the blank. You know, I can only do this, or I've reached the greatest of my potential because I'm a so-and-so type. Again, type is not your identity. So it's the giftings you have, which can be used on a great scale, small scale, whatever scale is really that right fit for you. But yeah, just know that no type is better than another type. It's just the type that you are. It's the type that you're born with. It's the lens that you're looking at life through. And you can learn to clean that window and get the best out of that window that you're looking through. And yeah, so don't compare yourself. Don't use type to compare for the positive or the negative. Like, don't think you're better than somebody because you have a certain type, and don't think you're less than someone else because of your type. Learn to love the type that you are. Learn to navigate life as the person that you are. So yeah, know your strengths, but don't disregard your weaknesses. Work on them. So yeah, everyone has like a chosen two functions. In objective personality, they call them savior functions. It's the two that you're choosing most often. And as a result, the other two in your function stack are considered like demons, the ones that you're not getting much time on because you're choosing the other ones more often. So they're weaker in that sense. Know what your strengths are, but don't disregard your demon functions. You can grow in them. You can be aware of them. You can become more balanced. You can have a more balanced ego, I guess, in a sense. You can become cognizant of making decisions with those two and not totally just missing them altogether. And yeah, as a zoomed out picture of your life, it's much better to be aware and be balanced. Do know that your chosen savior ones have a lot to do with your strengths and gifts and things that you will absolutely produce and bring great things to the world as a result of time on those, and a sense of like wisdom, or they're really developed in a sense. So yeah, you can really cultivate your strengths, and I don't think avoiding your strengths is a good thing. I think it's good to know what you're proficient at, I guess. But yeah, aim to be balanced and not just disregard what isn't coming natural to you, you know? So Yeah, so I guess as a conclusion, just I'm emphasizing balance is important in type. Understanding is important in type. Um, Also, know that each type is a vast, colorful picture that's not just a really narrowed down one way box. Type shouldn't be a box. It should be an honest description of what you're doing, an honest description of your tendencies. It's a starting point that really is you in a sense. So it's not your identity, but it is you. There comes to a point that there comes a point that you need to be honest with yourself about what you are doing. And from seeing that, know that that's just the beginning. And you can develop, you can grow. Yeah, it's not a limitation, I guess, is what I'm saying. Your type shouldn't limit you. It doesn't define you, but it's a true picture of what you bring to the world as well. So embrace your type, but don't use your type as an excuse for a big ego, for missing other people, being just not a good person, basically. Yeah, and also don't let type cause you to miss the real people in front of you, that you live in a state of just being in a type bubble, you know. Know that people's types isn't all that they are as well. And go out there and build real relationships with people, get to know people, and consider their type, but don't define them by their type. So yeah, guys, that's basically it for this video. Again, thank you for watching. If you got value out of this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It's helpful to know that the video made an impact. And for future content, if you want to stay in the loop, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button below. Also, I offer personality typing, life coaching, relationship coaching, basically just time with me to chat about whatever you like, really. In order to do that, you go to my website, typologycorner.com. It's in the description. You can book a session. You can pick a time slot that works for you, and we can meet on Zoom. I'm available for that. That's what it's really about for me. And yeah, so that's about it. Again, thank you for watching, and take care. See you next time.